Hello, good morning all. Thank you so much for this opportunity of sharing with you what my feelings are towards this harmonization workshop. Like the word stands, harmonization, I think we are aiming at making something standardized that is going to match and that is going to work for all the people of East Africa. Now, to note what is most important here, I think since we are going to base and we are intending to produce clinical officers who can serve in all countries without any limitation, I think like my colleague said before, the most important thing here we should tackle is the curriculum. How does the curriculum in Rwanda run? How does the curriculum in Uganda run? How does the curriculum in Kenya run? And then in Burundi? And which modules are they covering? And most importantly, there are those modules which should be cutting across. Being different countries, we may have some parts that we may add, but at least about a clinical officer whom we are saying his main role is to receive a patient, examine a patient, in other words, to clerk a patient, and then eventually come up with a treatment plan or a management plan. I assume that this clinical officer must have covered medicine, a little of surgery, gyne and obs, and then pediatrics. Now, how do we make our curriculum to make sure they all balance in this way? And how many credits are we awarding each particular module? Leave alone that, how do we now frame up the issue of clinical? For example, in Rwanda, we have clinical placement as a module, or as a subject, I would say. But I remember good enough, what I didn't mention most importantly is I'm a born of Kenya, I studied in Uganda, grew up in Uganda, I'm working in Rwanda. So I've seen most of these things happening. When I was in Uganda during our days of training, we would do one, you wouldn't differentiate us as a teaching institution from the hospital. The hospital shared the same fence with the teaching institution. That at any one time we wanted to enter the hospital, we entered. And lecturers or facilitators in most cases, they decided on how to proceed. Either they would start with teaching us theory in class, go for practical in the hospital on the same day, or they would be like doing a odd round. They teach us in the hospital, then the practical part of it, then we come and add on the theory in class. And that meant that at the end of the day, we are going to be evaluated a module independent of the other. Like for surgery, for example, you would have the theory for surgery, the practical for surgery, and it makes a module. But now when we come on our side in Rwanda, it's like we are having clinical placement for these modules, and then it makes it a final mark as clinical placement. Whereby if, for example, a student fails the practical of surgery, it affects her or his marks of clinical placement because it is a module. Good enough, as a university, we have tried to make, we have reviewed our curriculum, and now we feel like these modules in both practical and theory should be independent from each other. And I think I copied this from my sister country, Uganda, and I think the same is happening in Kenya. That is the reason or the purpose of me believing that we shall be now getting to harmonize. But in all, what do we want to do? How many credits are we awarding each of these modules in Rwanda, in Kenya, and in Uganda, such that we can consider our students to be at the same level, such that when he leaves Uganda to go to Kenya, there is no doubt of what he's going to perform. Of course, in addition to the fact that the Allied Health Professional Councils, or whatever the ruling, the guiding council, will have also awarded ETC part. Thank you so much. That's my submission.
Thank you for Rwanda. Let us clap for him. That's a good summary. I think let's go in that order now. Let's go to Burundi. G. Cloud, kindly update us.
Thank you so much for this time. I'm Jean-Claude Nganakumana from Burundi, General Secretary of the Clinical Officers Association in Burundi. And I'm very happy to be here with my president. We've been invited to this workshop, interesting one. And as she told yesterday, the clinical officers professions is in Burundi since 2005. We graduated, I'm among the first group of 11 persons to be graduated at the first time in Moro University. And as she told yesterday, before talking with harmonization, we had an issue. And apart from this workshop, yesterday we were talking with the Allied Health Professional Council, the register, about the issue with those who studied in Burundi. To be here, I need, as an association, to speak to the Allied Health Professional Council in order to solve that problem, because we are brothers, we have a common name. And for harmonization, I want to suggest to have a common name in Burundi, in Rwanda, in all East African countries. And this is for Burundi to cancel what is we say science et technique paramédicale. And this is, I think, the first step to go forward. The second step, in Burundi, we have a bachelor level. We don't have diploma level. In harmonization, I want to know, because with the curriculum, what is for diploma level, what is for bachelor level. And after that, the scope of practice, as we talked yesterday, must be harmonized in order to have movement of labor from Rwanda. They can come and teach in Burundi and work in health facilities in Burundi, as we can move from Burundi to Kenya, from Burundi to Tanzania. It will be very grateful to see in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Burundi. I think they might be the major beneficiaries from this workshop if we harmonize, so that those loopholes, we are at par. Let's move to Uganda.
Thank you so much. My name is Nasali Rose Mugumisiriza. I'm here and I'm the chairperson, Medical Clinical Officers Board. And at the same time, I double as the chairperson, Uganda Allied Health Examination Board. Allow me again thank Rwanda for spearheading this. Kudos. This is a great step and a great leap in the clinical officers fora. I'm here, and I think I want to say that we are the grandfathers and grandmothers of clinical medicine, because we seem to be the oldest. Uganda with the course. And I have this to put forward. The different forums I've attended, it seems that the curricula that most people are using were borrowed or have been borrowed from Uganda. And this is what I have to say about that curricula. Remember, as it was stated that it came all the way from Albert Cook, it was a way to bridge a gap. No wonder we are defined as the first rural health worker, isn't it? The clinical officer is the first rural health worker. So the people who are my age, someone says studied in Uganda, we were taught almost everything. If you can believe. You should know this, you should know this, you should know this, you should know this, everything, because you're going to bridge a what? A gap. So this is what I have to say. Members have already talked about the nomenclature. We need it if we are to move forward, because after East Africa, what next? Are we allowed also to move to Africa and then allowed to go globally? So we need that nomenclature clearly put out. And now the curriculum, as I've said, has a lot. And sometimes we found the clinical officer having everything but not mastering anything. But now we have moved from diploma to bachelor to master's and PhD, as Kenya has proved it. I think that it is doable. So when we are looking at this curriculum this time, can we spell out what exactly we want the person diploma to have? The knowledge that person needs. And can we use that knowledge to help this person to upgrade? That is recognition of prior knowledge. It should be considered, because when you find that the credit units, we have those courses that cannot really spell out what we do. Remember public health, you do a little bit of epidemiology, a little bit of biostatistics, a little bit of health, environmental health, a little bit of everything. Management, health service management, everything is lumped up there. But then you get certain credit units. What do we really want to say? That when I'm upgrading, I think, should they remove health education and promotion, or I go back and start from zero? Do they want to say I've had enough financing, or I am equated at the same level at bachelor level with a student coming from S4, S6 and is starting at bachelor level? Because we are taken at the same level. I can take temperature, but you cannot take temperature. I can make a bed, but he cannot make a bed. Then what is the use of my diploma? So as we sit down to harmonize our curricula, I think those things should come out clearly. What is diploma, what is bachelor's, what is at master's level, so that I think we shall even have that respect for each other, knowing that at diploma level, I stop here. At bachelor's level, this is my senior. But the curricula we are seeing, we seem to be almost at the same level, diploma and bachelor. And maybe that's why we are having issues with respect for each other. Now, the curricula also, what type of curriculum do we have? Do we want to have the other traditional or competence-based curricula? That one also should come out. What type of curricula we strictly want to have? And then lastly is, as members look at the different content in each module, let us be very careful about how we award the credit units. Which module takes the heavier units, which one takes the lighter units? I thank you for listening to me.
Oh, thank you so much for Uganda. Thank you for that presentation. I think we'll jump the president. Let's go to, you give us kind of a summary. Let's go to
respect the president, and I pass on the mic.
Yeah, kindly. So let's move to Kenya. Professor Kang'ethe.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad, and the fact that we are here today and the house is almost full means that we are still committed to the effort of making sure that we achieve. Remember, Professor Emmanuel said yesterday, and by the way, all protocols observed, Registrar, many people start, but they don't finish. They start surely, and definitely, but halfway through the journey, something happens and they don't complete. What we are aiming to do, and that is the emphasis from Kenya, and I want to say that very, very strongly, is that, do you see what we did yesterday afternoon, where various groups deliberated on what changes and modifications they wanted to make to the documents that were given to us by the medical doctors and practitioners guide. That document we need to indicate somewhere, thank you very much to the doctor representatives who came here and offered that guidance to us. And I want to thank Rwanda for taking the challenge to be the beginners in this fight here. And thank you very much, Rwanda, again, for hosting us here. The first and foremost step is all that work that was done yesterday afternoon should be compiled and the document produced, printed, and circulated this afternoon. No, maybe that is too soon. But that is what we need first. All the agreements we made yesterday afternoon, that document to be put from the first, from the pre-service and the in-service, what you wanted, what we agreed together as several countries, that needs to be put out first. That document will always be at the front as our guiding light, that is the direction we want to go. After that document is produced, preferably sometime this week again is too late, maybe early next week. That, without that document, you're not going anywhere. The next question you'll need to ask yourself, since the doctors offered to assist us in Rwanda here, and we went through that document and we made that document ours, that document becomes the guiding light, and then the next thing we want to see, what other document did the doctors produce when they were harmonizing theirs? Because that is the next logical step. Let us not go back to zero. If we did not have the curriculum guide, the document that we had yesterday, believe me, we would be here for another 2 weeks trying to produce the work that we did yesterday afternoon. So that's very important. The next step, and this is a Kenyan hope, let us embark on core curriculum. Core curriculum is the true meaning of why we came here. I think you had the representative from Uganda saying yesterday he had already come with some ideas on how this can be done. They already have it in black and white. Core curriculum is where we go to next. My question is this: which core curriculum are you people talking about? Don't say core curriculum because it's a core curriculum, okay? For the diploma, you must produce a core curriculum for the diploma in clinical medicine. Kenyans have it, Ugandans have it, I believe Rwandans have it. I think in Burundi they don't have the diploma. They have the degree. Even in Rwanda you don't have. Okay, those are considerations to make. The diploma in clinical medicine has been a very great success story. At least I think in Kenya, and I think also in Tanzania. We must not throw away what has successfully worked for us before. For me, I began as a clinical officer at a diploma level. So we shall develop a core curriculum for the diploma and articulate clearly who is allowed to come into that diploma. So we shall have that entrance requirement that if you do not have maybe the equivalent of O levels, if you have A levels, it's okay. If you don't have the following points in O levels, in physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and so on, you cannot come in. The reason for this is because if you set a very low standard that you want to be nice to the people in your country, when somebody who has a D minus and is a clinical officer is trying to advance in the medical field, there will be medical doctors and other people blocking him because he's not academic, intellectually prepared for the medical struggles above. So we shall have to agree for the core curriculum from the entry point. And again, as our Ugandan representative has just said here, you have to agree which courses are you teaching for the first year, second year, third year, etc. That is the presentation from Kenya. And my prayer now is that we shall go into the development of the core curriculum, carrying in our hands, all of us, the document which we shall have produced from yesterday afternoon. Thank you very much, and please remain energetic to see this to conclusion. Professor Emmanuel told us everybody is starting everything, but the important thing is to finish. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Kang'ethe. And you are saying the document may be next week, but it will be signed today.
Today?
The resolution for this workshop will be signed by member countries today before we leave.
So please circulate and let us begin the job.
Yes. Let me invite the president of GACOPA to make his remarks.
Thank you so much. All protocols observed. The Registrar of Rwanda for organizing this very, very important meeting. You know, since the evolution or since clinical medicine began, I think this is the first serious meeting that we're having, because it has got a serious impact. It's going to change the lives of the clinical officers in the region, even the ones who are upcoming. And this realization has come. Remember, the clinical medicine, as Uganda are saying, they started it in early 20s, 1920s. But look at the country that is bringing us together, so that we have this common curriculum and common name and this harmonization. It is Rwanda. And we have to really thank Rwanda for taking this initiative. I'm told that the initiative had started sometime earlier, but it stalled. So this is the time. We are not going to allow it to stall. And all the speakers here have expressed whatever they really want from different countries. And just as our MC for today, Njeru, said that Burundi will be the biggest beneficiaries once this harmonization thing comes up. We are here because of the East Africa Sectoral Council of Ministers for Health, and they know that we are here. And the East African community, the person who heads the health department from Burundi, knows that we are here. Yala was supposed to be represented here, but they sent their apologies. And after this, we just have to come up with a document. It might not be the final document. It is a draft, just as members here have stated. It's a draft. We will not give any timeline for a draft document today. We just have to have the document today. So how we will make the draft look like a serious document that should be presented to Council of Ministers, because I know it is the Council of Ministers who will receive that document and then give an okay. The presidents will just sign something that they know the technical working group has done, and by the Council of Ministers signing that document, even the ministers who are politicians, they know very well that there are people who have been working on this document. It will move to different steps where maybe the final document will be, there are people who will review it, there are editors, there are a lot of stakeholders. So I think after this meeting, we will come up with a team, and that team will have come up with maybe a steering committee and then subcommittees. And these subcommittees will be given timeline. And we are committed because people have come from far. People have come from very far just to come and ensure that this realization takes place. And we are ready to move, whether it is the East African Parliament, whether it is coming back here to Rwanda, whether we are going to South Sudan, whether we will be going to Somaliland or Somali. As we are ready, and we have to make sure that this document is passed, and all the details, because here we have all experts. Some of us, we are not experts. We are just there to walk around and push things and make things happen. And even in our midst here, there are politicians. There are people who are connected here. I'm very sure there is someone here who greets the president of Uganda or the president of Kenya, maybe monthly. So these are things that once the document is already done here by the experts, the Council of Ministers, I know, will meet somewhere before June. And they will meet in one of the member states' countries, whether it is Uganda or Kenya. So once they will be meeting, us will just be informed, or there is the registrar here, I'm very sure, is aware. He will know the date that these people will be meeting. So when these ministers for health from respective countries will be meeting, can we have that document already fine-tuned so that we take this opportunity? And because when they'll be meeting, you never know when they will meet again. So once they meet, I'm very sure they will have the document, and there is a team. The team, some of our members here, the committee that we will come up with, will be invited to attend that meeting and present and make presentation And you never know, they might agree with that the same day, and then they'll be writing their report, they will incorporate it in their report that we've agreed that it is this, plus all those things that we've discussed here. And the professor, the chair of the Rwanda Medical and Dental Council, that is someone who's experienced. He has been there. They are the people who developed the one for the doctors. Here it will be very easy for us. He said we are not reinventing. It's too easy for us, because when you look at the document that they shared with us, it has got almost everything. It's just some addition, like registrar was suggesting that maybe we do a licensing exam after all these people have trained in the East Africa, in these East African nations. They do one exam, and after that exam, if you pass, then you get a common license. So these are things that when that time reaches, it will really be easy. There is a framework that was being shared that first of all, the key activities that we should think about is the finalization of the East African Common Guideline with the checklist for clinical officers. And the people who are responsible are all the member countries. And we give even 2 weeks. We don't need to give months here, because we need this document to be ready before. What if the Council of Ministers are meeting in April, and in that meeting, they invite the registrar and professor to come to Arusha, and then they tell the professor, where's the document? You met in February. Do you have a document or something that, no, the document we have is still undergoing some processes, there are some fine tuning. Then I think you people will give you time. We will meet next year. We'll be having another council of ministers meeting. You give us that fine tune. But then a document can be fine tuned even within hours, or if people are ready to work. So to me, the timeline should not be in months. All these timelines should be in weeks, because we created time to come here. The draft that we will come out with today would have taken us 6 months or even a year to just come up with it. But we've been given the document. So then there is the co-curriculum development, where we will establish a co-curriculum. They were talking of 1 month, but to me, I think it should be less than a month. Then meetings can be done online after this, and then a physical meeting, maybe if before we can have another physical meeting, if it is possible, before the steering team that we'll have here, who can, when they will meet the Council of Ministers, or even if we'll not have a physical meeting, then the steering committee that will be formed here can be facilitated to book an appointment with the Council of Ministers or the person responsible in that hierarchy. Because even if we are not meeting the Council of Ministers, I know there is a team in the East African community that deals with these issues. We can go to Arusha and meet them and then present all these things that we've discussed. Otherwise, we are happy, because after this, the Dr. Choge is working on the international harmonization process, which they started long time ago. They're coming up with a very serious document. And they were in India last year. This year again, they'll be in Botswana. That is the same language. The theme for the Botswana conference is just harmonization. Last year we were in Malaysia, the theme was harmonization. All these conferences and meetings for clinical officers, the main theme is just harmonization, and I'm very sure we will realize this, and even clinical officers from Rwanda will get a chance to go and work in United Kingdom, in USA, and I'm happy to report that last week, the General Medical Council of the United Kingdom have now been tasked by Parliament, that is the House of Commons in United Kingdom, that passed a very, very important law that now will regulate the training of physician associates. So as GACOPA, we are happy that such development will take place, and with the harmonization that Dr. Choge and the team are working on, then we will be equivalent to the PS. So when you go to the United Kingdom and you say you are a clinical officer, they'll say, oh, so you are a PA equivalent. Then you'll get the license to practice. Otherwise, I also want to congratulate Dr. Choge for being elected as the president of the International Academy of Physician Assistant Educators, Associate Educators. So thank you so much with that summary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to appreciate the panelists for a very good discussion and the points that have really come out. My feeling is that the end goal, the goal as to, there is, why are we doing this? What is the end product? What is the goal? What is the vision? The feeling is that the vision is that we want the common market, or in short, we want to enhance labor mobility within the East Africa. And for you to be able to do that, there are three things you need. You need first that harmonized skills and competencies in terms of the curricula and the scope of practice. But then you also need regulation, so that the provisions in the regulations in Rwanda would accept that if I'm coming from Tanzania, I can be equated to the clinical officer there, even though the curriculum may be the same, because then the laws usually do apply. And of course, the third thing is about the nomenclature. I'm saying this because I'm hearing that probably to do this first, and then this other thing comes later. But let me ask, why not carry them together? And being that this is the first meeting that we are having, this is the meeting that should actually put everything in place. Even if we think that probably there is this big priority, we need to look at the whole aspect and probably provide for what we prioritize first and what comes second. Let us remember that there is one challenge we have that the doctors do not have, because the guideline we have is from the doctors, the medical council. And it's a very good document that is going to get. But the challenge of nomenclature is unique to us. We have paramedics in Burundi, we have public health officers in Ethiopia, we have medical assistants in Tanzania, and we have clinical officers. And as East Africa, I believe we have an opportunity, and it's probably easier for us to actually harmonize the nomenclature, because if we agree that, let's say, we are taking up a clinical officer for all of us, and that passes through the Secretariat of the East Africa, it will be very easy for now the other countries now to come up and try and amend their laws so that that title. My suggestion would be in line with what has been said. Now that we are having a committee, as we have the committee on the curriculum under that, let us also have another committee looking at the regulation and the nomenclature on the other side, so that they can go together. So that as we finish with the core curriculum, we'll also have achieved the other two elements that are very important, to enable us to have that common marketplace where there will be no impediments. If I want to set up my clinic in Burundi, or if a Burundian wants to come to Kenya, and they can be able to practice. Thank you.
Yes, in line with what my colleague is talking about, maybe I'll just talk about it in short, that I actually agree with the starting with the curriculum, because in the curriculum we actually specify who enters that program, what that person studies, and the expectations after this person, which actually touches on the scope. As well, we also talk about internship before this person is actually registered in order to practice how. But in the process of the discussion from the panelists, I had specifically a question from our colleague from Kenya asking which core curriculum are we talking about. Fortunately or unfortunately, he answered himself, but on one part of it, which was to do with the diploma. So I think for the good of harmonization, we should spell out, since we have a profession that actually has two levels, the diploma and the degree, we should see whether we harmonize for profession recognition at the degree level, or we take them at both. Because as we strive for the market, and we as well know that the East African Legislative Assembly, they have certain protocols to do with the market, but as well policy to do with the precision medicine practice, and to do with the specialization, which is one of their advocates, to have a specialist because it's one of the lacking areas. Yes, clinical officers, we have sub-specialist specialization at the diploma level in the different countries, not common to all. But as well, after the degree, we can as well specialize. So we can have this harmonization at the diploma, harmonization at the degree, and furthermore, advocate for areas within this curriculum, advocate for areas of preventive health, which is actually the common agenda at the East African level and world at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those comments. Maybe let me clarify that when we are talking about the curriculum, we are talking about both the diploma and the degree for those countries that have them, so that even those who might start either will just borrow from what is existing. So it's upon this team to go and get people to look at the diploma and a team to look at the degree, be presented to a common, which is Rwanda, then for comparison and then adoption of one curriculum. So we are talking about both. And we are talking about the entry requirements, we are talking about the preclinicals, the clinicals, duration of training. I think, again, that will come in very hard for Burundi. And I think even if there are local professional politics, once a document has been agreed by 4 countries, then I think pressure will come from there. Yeah, so duration of training, and then the issue of quality assurance, we must think about it. How will we know that these people are at par? Those who are trained in Uganda, those who are trained in Kenya. We need to think about that. And today, Kenya, maybe we can borrow from Kenya, we are having that pre-registration examination, and it's not physical, it's online. So it will be very easy to administer the exam in order for us to know the quality of products in these countries. The issue of post-basic, postgraduate, those will come. I want to believe that the committee that will come out of this is a standing committee. So the work is long, and as Peterson is saying, all these regulations will come there. What we decided is, where do we start? And then within that committee, other things will go on being developed. So yes, there's a suggestion from SG Kenya, Shabi.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And protocols observed. I'm Joseph Chebi. I think I was a bit late yesterday, but today I'm happy to be here. I'm not going to repeat what my colleagues have actually elaborated, but in the development of the curriculum, I think we are going to do one which we call core curriculum for East Africa. And there is this part that I want us to remind ourselves about the entry behaviors and the education systems of these countries in East Africa. It has to be considered, because we cannot only have assume we will pick up from making the curriculum and discussing about the entries. We have to see how the education system in each country as well has to be looked into, because in some countries they move to A level, others move to other system. I think this is something also which you need to harmonize so that our document will not be rejected. And that tells us we are going to have a consultation in each country on how they can equate a number of issues in the education system. We are also having, we are not reinventing the wheel, because we already have one of our colleagues, the medical officers already, they have harmonized. So it is still possible, and it is possible we can harmonize. And I still encourage this team that we work together to have the curriculum and also a common nomenclature so that we don't get setbacks at the end. Because you will be asked by the East African ministers and all that, now you have prepared a curriculum for which cadre? You know, that one is now a big question that we need to address. Or in the preparation of this document, unless we equate the analogs in the same document saying, when you are in Burundi, we mean this, we are in Rwanda, we mean this, unless we go at that direction. Otherwise, if you give that one to a minister from Ethiopia, this one is a curriculum for clinical officers, and in their country, they have public health officers and all that. So he may feel, or she may feel, she's in a wrong meeting and having a wrong document. And I also want us to get to know who are these stakeholders. Probably we will bring in the people in the education system, Ministry of Education. They will be our main stakeholders when we are working on this curriculum. Let us also think about the Minister of Labor, because as we retreat back, we need to know which areas they play in our profession, the Minister of Labor and also Minister of Education. They will be very much supportive to us, because at some point also we don't want to reach a point where they will say they were not consulted, they are not aware, and all that. I know most of these ministers, those are some of the things they will do in what we call due diligence in the organization. Otherwise, all these things are possible. We can do them within that short time and the short timelines, but we need to move a bit fast to chance this meeting of ministers. At least we have a document to move. We can prepare the document, and we can cite this document will serve for this nomenclature if we will not have agreed. Because agreeing also on common nomenclature, it means some other acts have to happen in each country. So it's not just something that we can wake up today. We call the MCOs of Uganda clinical officers. And finally, this harmonization as well, other than in the labor market, we will see some fruits also in professional progression, because if we already come with a curriculum for diploma and for the degree, master's program will easily emerge among other subspecialties that will come. And just to tell you this is possible and to encourage you, I work in Turkana, that is the other part of Karamoja, your brothers like in Uganda, down there. The medical officers, one of my sub-county medical officer comes from Uganda, and he was employed in our county. He's the one calling the shots. The two other medical officers in the county were employed by the county, and they all trained, and they are Ugandans. So what does it tell us? It is telling us what we are doing has worked, and it is possible. So thank you very much. I make submissions, and having a meeting in Nairobi, I would suggest the May one, the physical one, to come to Nairobi. We support. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mr. Chebi. Let me say that this meeting, no, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, I'm seeing the hand from, I just want to clarify one thing. We are under the umbrella of East Africa Community here. And quite a number of things have been discussed at the EAC, and I'm sure the President Gakopa is very privy to what goes on in Arusha. One of the things that has been discussed is the education system. And I had a chance, we were undergoing training in my country on
the global president has talked about not rushing the document, and that was also my view. Because yesterday I was scared, because it was like copy and paste. You cross out medical and dental, you put clinical office or something like that. We need to work on this document well, so that we own it. And so that whoever is reading it out there it makes a lot of sense to whoever will be reading it. Then the other thing I've heard is about the steering committee. I think that one will guide. But the other issue I wanted to mention is about our brothers from Rwanda and our sisters. They seem to be crawling, and I don't know how best we can help them so that we move together. Burundi, sorry. Yeah, right. So I don't know how we can help them to make sure that we are moving at the same pace. I think the steering committee might have to come up with either visiting or the document that we are going to come up with will either be helpful, but they need support from yesterday, what we have had here in a meeting. The other issue is on standardization and quality assurance. You have partly mentioned something about the quality of our to move up. Thing that I've learned about the medical and dental, they measure that joint inspection and supervision. And I also suggest that this should be taken as a very key aspect in terms of inspecting these institutions to find out whether they meet the standards. Thank you.
Benchmarking some programs from the East African community. So I would suggest the team that will be working on harmonizing the curriculum. We have Inter-University Council for East Africa. So probably that council would support this activity of harmonizing the program. And they don't harmonize as such. They set benchmarks of what my colleagues were mentioning about the core curriculum. So that each one who is developing the curriculum will follow, will have the benchmarks and probably some few particularities for different countries. You know, each country has its own context. And also another issue I wanted to bring out is, yes, we have diploma programs, we have bachelor's programs, but those who went through the diploma and had to upgrade to bachelor and probably go to masters, I think it will not be fair for us to train young people into diploma and then let them come back again for upgrading to bachelor. Why can't we just agree and have our entry program, our entry area, which is a bachelor? We can develop both benchmarks for diploma. Those who want to do diploma, they will do their diploma. But if we want this profession to grow, I think we can start with bachelor, and then we move on with specializations. That is what I wanted to do. And this is also an opportunity for us. Since we have this opportunity to be together, let us think beyond bachelor. Let's have benchmarks for even postgraduates. Where is this person going to go after bachelor? Because it is the young people, a young generation, they will need to grow. Where are they going to grow from? Otherwise, they will go into public health and they will miss them. And yeah, those were my few comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those inputs. Yes, we need buying in. All the teams that are related to the training. So the Inter-University Council, I think, is very important, so that we get support from there. Maybe let us hear the last comment, and then I'm sure we have a lot to share, so that we can break for coffee, then come back. Same remarks will continue during the closing session. We are almost there. Yes.
All right. Thank you. My name is Bruno, and I'm from Uganda. These are really very, very interesting deliberations. However, I want to request the president for the Global Association of Clinical Officers and Physician Associates, Mr. Austin, that over time, I've been attending these meetings, even at the inception when Gakopa was being informed, I've been on ground. But there's something about Uganda that you're always leaving out Uganda. You've benchmarked South Sudan and Burundi. You see, when we come here and attend these meetings, we show that things seem to be moving okay, but they're not really okay in Uganda. You should include Uganda to be number 3. And when you come to Uganda, I think make an effort to meet the key relevant stakeholders, and these include the commissions, the relevant commissions within the heart of Ministry of Health. I mean the top and core heart of Ministry of Health. That's my simple submission. Thank you.
My name is George Gibora. I come from Kenya. And again, I want to say I lead the Kenya Union of Clinical Office in Kenya. Let me say what I said here yesterday as a first comment, that of course we are coming from different country, from different setup. We are talking as professional, trying to set our pace to ensure that we can be able to propel ourselves to where we want to be. But indeed, as it has been said here, we are not at the same place. Reason is, we say we are professional. The international body that recognizes professional call us paramedics. So that's what we want to defeat. How is other professional regulated? It is a key thing that we need to look at. Is there something that is missing? What is the gaps? So how do we fill the gaps? I want to say, like for instance, if we want to go, we want to get actually more of, let every county, in our document, let every country have what is we call the status quo, which inform. Like for instance, Kenya has been training Sudanese, who goes back, we don't know what is their qualification there to train clinical medicine. But previously also Kenya and Tanzania have been training clinical officer for Kenya, until when we realized that they were training people who do not meet the criteria in Kenya. Then the council had to communicate the law minimum. So that also need to be communicated so that it is known within the common countries, the East African country community, on what is the key, what is the basis. Now for me, I focus like what my brother there was speaking about. We are focusing on the entry train, that's the key, the basic training, diploma and the degree. Leave alone first the specialization or whatever. We start with this one because this is when you want to employ, you look at the basic training before you go to the other. Because for instance, I want to say, already currently, I have had around 2 clinical officers going to Australia and they are anesthetists. Now they have been allowed to practice. I have 1 clinical officer practicing in Caribbean. He's a pediatric clinical officer and actually was in the Asian country, then he went there. We have 1 who went also as was just a basic training clinical officer in degree. He was forced to do masters before he started practicing in the USA. So you'll find that those until they now know what is it that you're doing. Let me remind us also another key issue, that when we had Ebola, the clinical officer from Kenya went to work there. But before they went, we had to do a meticulous work to explain to the AU, who are these clinical officers? But you see, that is different from the medical officer because they have something in common across the world. They have adopted a common nomenclature. Now, in the East African, I think we have a common name. That's what I can understand. SNEO. It's no. So if it is a no, then still, if today we want to cross over, there will be someone who will be the minister who doesn't know who is this person or who is, and will be asking the same question. Until we clean that sheet, as Wachira had said, who is my chairman in the union, we will still have those questions. And to some extent, lastly is, if there is an existing policy or an act of parliament in a certain country, if we prepare a document that conflict with that document, then we tend to have, so until we also be realistic that there is laws that exist in different countries, then we get to know how to realign with them also as we prepare this. so that we don't conflict and create conflict where there is where we could actually avoid it. So on that document, I saw that because the medical officer, most of them, they have an act of parliament in their respective country. But we have realized that as clinical officers and our analog, some country are missing, some have. So it is good to be realistic in that nature. Thank you.
Tomorrow we are going to Burundi, Bujumbura, or on Sunday, we will be celebrating the 2nd East Africa Clinical Officers Day. And in our resolutions in Zanzibar, March 4th is the day for celebration of the East Africa Clinical Officers. We also have to have our day as East Africa Clinical Officers. So the first celebration took place in Zanzibar, and the guest of honor was the Vice President of Zanzibar, who really embraced what we were doing. So we decided that every year we'll be celebrating the East Africa Clinical Officers Day on March 4th. So March 4th, this time it will be in Bujumbura, Burundi, and Colombia and the team there are preparing more than 200 clinical officers at one of the biggest halls in Bujumbura. So we will be going there. If you have time, you can join us so that we go to Burundi. Here we can go by road. And then we have our 4th international conference for GACOPA. The first one took place in Ghana, second one took place here in Rwanda, Kigali. Some of us attended. The third was in Malaysia last year. So this one is going to be the biggest gathering for clinical officers in the entire world. We are expecting more than 500 clinical officers. We will share with you invitation letters as early as next month. It will be at the DDT College of Medicine in Gaborone, Botswana, 26th August to 29th August. Those who want to go by air, available. Those who want to do the road trip via Zambia, that is also accepted. So let us meet in Gaborone in August. And of course, EAPI, we have also the EAPI that we work together with. Maybe, of my 2 minutes, I want to donate just 40 seconds to the President-elect of EAPI, Dr. Choge.
Yeah, all protocol observed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, mine is just one. I have a word from the president of the IAPI. IAPI is International Academy of Physician Associate Educators. These are educators across the world. Our current president is Scott Smiley from South Africa. He asked me to pass his sentiments to you. We are in support of what is going on here. And IAPI has brought together equivalents of clinicians. We are now in 68 countries of the world. And we are talking a common language. We are also having international conferences. We had one in Switzerland in 2018. Then due to COVID, we had an interruption, but we've had one again last year we were in India. And later this year, in October, we shall be in Louisiana, USA. So we are working very closely with what is happening here. One of the things we are doing is curriculum mapping. We have managed to map curricula in 27 countries of the world. We are getting to there's a program that the Germans have put for us. We are using that. And I think we shall really welcome the document from, I want to appeal that the team from here, kindly, when we request you, allow us to use your curriculum as part of those we are mapping across the world. We are talking to the WHO and the International Labour Organization for reclassification, and they have agreed. I think it's just, we have already started the process. In the next 3 years or so, we shall have a reclassification. We shall not be called paramedics. We shall be called by a name that we shall accept. And I think that will come at the right time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for spending your time well. Then we shall have Dr. Lela closing for us.
Thank you very much, dear MC. Let's clap our hands to our MC. He has done it very, very well. Yeah? I can see it was. Mine is just words of thanks because this conference is the first one we are organizing EAC for EAC, and it's my pleasure to have that it's clinical officers that is starting the process from when the ESC minister decided on the harmonization of other health professionals, and then you took this lead as clinical officers to start the process. I think something that everyone need to be happy with. Number two is that you respond to the invitation. The way you came to Rwanda, and the 2 days that we've been working together, although it was a new process, for all of us it was new. But with the participation and the facilitation of the Rwanda Medical Council, then everyone immediately took the side and understood what we have to do, to the point that we can end up with these resolutions. So for me, as the registrar of Rwanda Allied Health Professions Council, where we regulate all those other professions, it's my pleasure, and I'm very happy that now we are taking this, you are taking the lead, but other professions who are also represented here are going to follow your steps. So I can say that now the ball is in your hand. You need to play. It's not now the registrar is going to do it. It's clinical officers who are going to do it, and clinical officers from the ESC. And I don't have any doubt now, from what I've seen today, I didn't know many of you, but from what I've seen today, I can see that you have the right potential to go wherever you want to go. You can even do this process in 1 year. It's possible. It will depend on how active we are. Yeah, so the discussions were sometimes intense. It's normal because everyone wants to give his opinion, and we really respect everyone's opinion. And I really liked how the MC was able to manage it. Yeah, I mean, he can be a very good diplomat. Yeah, so coming back to this process, which was recommended last year in February, but the head of the steering committee was Professor John, who is here. And I humble myself because he tried what he can, and that's why we are here, because we try to put people together. And to see him here, I'm very happy, Prof, that you decided to come. Although I didn't consult him when we invited the clinical officers to come. But it shows humility and, I mean, the leadership, because he understood, oh, okay, even if we delayed, but at least we are starting. And he's here. I think we need to clap for him. And I don't have any doubt that we will succeed, and other professions are going to follow. So without delaying, the workshop was supposed to be closed by the Director General who was here, but now it had been allocated to other activities. So the Minister of State, he asked me to ask the chairperson of the council to close it. That's why the chairperson who is here, who is represented by the vice chair, will close the meeting. But before she comes, we will invite Prof. John to give his remarks. And I'm sure he'll been with us here, and with his wisdom, every time we want to go on the side, he was ready to bring us back. Thank you, John, and thank you for being here.
So thank you very much. Good afternoon. Forget about the skirmish of saying we shall punish you at home. Nobody will be punished. Everybody has his rights. Nobody will be punished. They know it. But what is very important as a stakeholders, professionals, is that you learn to respect hierarchy. You could be talking the truth, but in a wrong fora. Yes. You could be talking the truth, but at what? A wrong forum. And normally when you talk the truth in the wrong forum, you are reprimanded. Not because you talked a lie, but you talked the truth in the wrong forum. So I'm available for clinical officers. Nobody should doubt my availability. I want to thank the organizers of this. I want to thank the fraternity of clinical officers. You know, I'm passionate about clinical officers because, first of all, in the country I come with, 75% of the people I regulate are clinical officers. So how would I then be a bad father to the greater majority of the people? And all the private practice, over 85% that the revenue I get for council, for the government, is from clinical officers. So these people make a very big impact in the country. In terms of service delivery, all the health center 3s, all the health center 4s, where the 80% population lived, are managed by clinical officers. So who would not appreciate your role in this country? In Uganda, a few challenges are there, but I think one of the strongest things that the Ugandan Council, the president made, was to put me as a chair. We have had a lot of resistance, but many of the people cannot fight us because when they see that the chair is Okiria and is coming, some people will say, but how do we deal with him? You know, these wars are not very simple, and there's normally a question of recognition of who is in the lead and who's available. I want to thank you for this initiative. EAC supports this program, these activities. We have challenges of service delivery. We have challenges in our career. But clinical officers, I think we sat on our own rights for a long time. We actually allowed ourselves that minimum position of a diploma, to an extent that we feel that other people are torturing us, are not liking us. No. You see, I think we didn't understand that we need to grow from where we are. Now the growth of career, from the diploma, from the certificates, you see historically, everybody knew that allied health or paramedicals must be a diploma holder. Now we have the growth that takes up to PhD. So this is a big thing that you are doing. And I want to admire the clinical officers fraternity of Kenya. I think they are the most dynamic. They deserve a clap. They are the most dynamic groups of people, because I think they have taken it upon themselves that you can actually grow and maintain yourself as a clinical officer. Because many of us do not have the growth of clinical officers. You know, personally, I tell people, yes, I am an allied health professionals. But my 4 degrees, 5, 6 with a PhD have nothing to do with what? My first degree as an allied health professional. But you see in Kenya, you can see how people have decided to make a clinical officer professional for growth. That you are moving from your diploma, you are moving to your degree, to a specialty, to a PhD, and each level has a recognition. So it's very critical that we benchmark some of the actions. But my appeal is that when you are dealing with the harmonization, we don't first put activism. Are we together? We don't first put activism, because we have to sell ourselves. We have to sell ourselves. There are a number of things that we are going to include in this harmonized curriculum, where other parties may think that we are stepping on them. In other countries, for example, Uganda, we attempted to put a competence of cesarean sections in the Bachelors of Clinical Medicine curriculum. And it was fought until we said, okay, for now, let the program first go. Let's first put it aside. But when we begin benchmarking, probably Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, we can now have a case to make. What is the point of having someone at bachelor's level who cannot conduct at least a cesarean, which is really a common occurrence at level 3, level 4 in the facilities? So what am I in charge of? How are you attending the maternal question if you can deny a person a competence to do something? Is there an element of overcompetence that you think that we are overcompetent on what you want? The question is service delivery. So I want to say that this process will go smoothly. We shall get in touch with the training community. We should get in touch with the professional bodies. The council should be very alert and lead this. Because many of associations in other countries are not well established and they don't have any resources. And I'm actually directing my register. Where is Peter? Yes. To make sure that all the meetings of these processes are facilitated by you. So, would a local man direct that? So it's because the chair is the one talking. The budget is mine. The budget is mine. So, I have the political positioning being appointed by the head of state. I have a recognition at the National Council of Higher Education for Uganda as a senior program assessor. I know what I'm talking about. I am politically well positioned. I know what I'm talking about. And above all, I'm a big consultant for your WHO, you said, and UNFPA in Uganda and world over. So if I talk, somebody will listen to the story. So together, we can make this thing a success. We know we are all busy, but delegation is part of delivery. The clinicians, Kachuano, or the lady next to him are all competent people. Elisha, these are all senior clinical officers who should help me build this thing in the best way we want. Once we have the document in peace, we shall share with the stakeholders. Call them and appreciate that this is what we are harmonizing. You know, the way it looks complicated, because, but who will approve it? No. Let's come up with a document that is harmonized. And we say this is our curriculum for ESC. We don't need to have all the courses. For your own information, you need actually 60% of the only courses across the board. If your curriculum has 7 times 6, 42 course units, we need about 26 or so that every country, every person minimum who's offering the program must have. So we put them as they are structured and say, you can go and add their Ateso language, where I come from, and teach them. You can go and teach them Islam. You can go and teach them theology. But you must have taught them A, B, C, D, E. So once we have done that, nobody will fight us. I can assure you the processes we learn through. We have the will, we have the abilities. You are the content experts. We shall engage our parts as structural experts to put your content in a structural accepted means. So I want to thank you for your contributions. I want to thank you for taking your time in this. I can't come for something I don't love. He has said rightly that I'm very busy. Yes, but I love the fraternity of clinical officers. That's why I'm here. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Prof, for your kind words and the promise that you will not reprimand. Thank you. Before I call our guest of honor to close for us, I just want to mention 2 things. One is that this document in the respective countries belongs to the councils. It's the councils. Whether they are represented here or not, it's the council that is supposed to spearhead this. They're in charge of training. We are talking about training. 2, we must sign a document, and therefore I will request representatives of those countries, the 4 countries, if the council members are not there, then we should get somebody to sign on their behalf, even as we continue furnishing the document. We are lucky in Kenya, we have our chairman of the council here, and even if he was not there, we have the deputy. If the deputy was not there, we go packed. Sorry? The councils. Yeah, so we request that members of the councils in our country, individual countries, make sure you sign that document today. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure now to invite our chief guest to close for us. Let us put our hearts together for Dr. Lela as he comes to close for us. Welcome, Dr. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon once again. And I'm honored to be called the guest of honor. It feels good. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I am honored to be doing the closing remarks right now. So on behalf of the chairperson of the Rwanda Allied Health Professions Council, I'm glad to be standing before you to make the closing remarks. As the Rwanda Allied Health Professions Council, we are greatly happy for this workshop to have become a realization, as it has been in the pipeline for the last almost 1 year, as the registrar said. So this is a very big achievement, and I think the local organizing committee deserves a very big hand clap. Thank you so much. It's also such an honor for Rwanda to have spearheaded this process. And I think it's just going to be the beginning of so many other harmonization processes for the other health professions. I personally think that this has really been a productive 2 days workshop and certainly a big milestone, not only for the clinical officers, but also for the other health professional association bodies that will continue to do the same. The clinical officers have paved a way for us, and there will be no reinventing the wheel. And with that, I think they also deserve a very big hand clap. Next, please allow me to acknowledge and appreciate the Global Association of Clinical Officers and Physician Associations. And from the name, you can hear they are global. So they are the big brothers. And the big brothers are operating in tandem with the young brothers. So we sincerely appreciate your cooperation and your support of any kind in this workshop. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you. I now take this opportunity to appreciate the Ministry of Health of Rwanda for their unwavering support in all our activities. We can all agree that it's reassuring to know that we are always supported by our political bodies. I think you heard the professor when he said confidently and mandating the chairperson to financially support all the meetings. That shows you that the political support is always needed. So please, a round of applause for our Ministry of Health. A special thanks to our facilitators, although they are not here, Professor Emmanuel Rudakemwa and Tade Vuguziga from RMDC, our sister council, for accepting our invitation to facilitate this workshop. They are pioneers of this important process, and we truly appreciate and value their contribution. While I don't think that this is going to be a smooth ride, I do think that that they have laid a way, and we are not going to fall into the potholes that they did fall into, or hit the road bumps that they hit, because they have already made a way and they've shared their documents, they've shared the experience. So it's going to be a bit of a smooth ride for the rest of us. So we really need to thank them so much for their facilitation, although they are not here. Please give them a round of applause. And finally, to all our stakeholders who in one way or another supported this workshop, making it a successful reality. Your support has not gone unnoticed. We sincerely thank you to all the participants who are here, who have so patiently stayed here. They have so patiently participated. The active and heated debates that were here, it all shows their commitment in putting this workshop a successful one. And we really thank you so much for the 2 days that you've been here. Please clap for yourselves. We do hope that this is not the end of our collaboration, and it will be a perpetual one. And whenever we invite you, we hope that you always be ready to come and support us in the future of all these activities related to harmonization even for other health professional bodies. Thank you very much, and God bless you as you go back home, and have a blessed day and blessed lunch. Thank you so much.